What just happened? Let's talk about my Toronto versus Columbus Game 4 review for August 7th. The Leafs win this one 4-3 in overtime after being down 3-0 late in the third period. The series is now tied 2-2. Does this sound familiar? Because it should. They were up 3-0 against Columbus yesterday and blew that lead and lost in overtime. Boom! Minds are being blown everywhere. What just happened is literally trending on social media right now. Now, let's not kid yourself, Leaf fans. They played awful for at least 2/3 of this game. They couldn't pass a beach ball. It was incredible how bad they were. I'm not taking anything away from Columbus. They are great at stick checking. They're always great at that. But really, I mean, Toronto, their focus wasn't there. Yeah, okay, they played yesterday. They may be a bit tired. But hey, Blue Jackets are tired too. They were just, especially their defense. It was just 2 of the 3 Columbus goals were a direct result of Toronto's D mental lapses. Speaking of which, first goal is scored by Cam Atkinson, assisted by Dubois and Merzlikins in the first period. This is about 4 minutes in. Justin Hull is hypnotized at the offensive blue line, and there's a 2-on-1 that goes in the opposite direction. Martin Morenson is left to defend on his own, and it's hard to blame him on this one. He did the best he can. It was a nice pass by Pierre-Luc Dubois, but that was just the beginning. In the second period, Vladislav Gevrikov scores, assisted by Savard and Texier to make it 2-0 for Columbus. Now, this was a shot from the blue line, a slapper, which got tipped by Marner. But this was a tip that was like 4 feet in front of him. It was a knuckleball that just kind of floated, and Anderson should have had an easy time just grasping that sucker, and he missed it, and it floated over his shoulder. That's all on him, and I'm sure he would admit that. Now, before we get to the third period, Jason Spezza, late in the second, he takes a penalty for slashing. He decides to pick a fight with, was it Kulikov? Blue Jackets defenseman, and he's not a good fighter, but he's trying to do anything to spark his team at this point because they're playing with just no energy. They're sloppy. They're lazy. They're not playing with any tenacity whatsoever. And so kudos to him for doing something. Because you know what? The only consistently good line out there the entire night was the Leafs' fourth line of Spezza, Peter Engvall, and Kyle Clifford. For the most part. And I can see Keefe using them even more going forward if they keep this up. Because they're eating up other teams' fourth line. It's just so much better than I would say most of the leagues probably. Now, back to the third period. Boone Jenner scores to make it 3-0 for Columbus. That's assisted by Foligno. Morgan Rielly, who's been playing awful since Game 3 in overtime when he made a really bad decision to pinch halfway through overtime in that game about 5 or 6 feet off of the blue line with two Blue Jackets already behind him, which led directly to the overtime goal. And he just stunk all night, but this one took the cake. He's standing stationary. He's not moving. Right around, just before their own, in his own zone, just before the blue line. But Boone Jenner is about 5 feet in front of him, and he passes it right to him. He passes it right directly to him. I'm brain cramping at this point, and I had to get a drink. It was the only thing to make me feel alive again. It was so frustrating to watch. I'm a Leaf fan, by the way, just in case you haven't noticed already. Now, Boone Jenner just skated right around him, and put it past Anderson. And maybe you could say, hey, Anderson, can you give us a miraculous save here and there? Because Merzlikins down on the other end has been fantastic since he came in for Korpisalo in Game 3. Nothing's been getting by him. But I'm not going to point the finger at Anderson on this one. That's all Morgan Rielly. He's just been awful, and he's got to turn his game around. And it looked better in overtime. But I just hate how their defense pinches a little too often. I'd rather them play it safe, especially against this team who just waits till you make a mistake. And Toronto always makes the same mistake. It's their defense that pinches too much. Drives me bananas. In any case, moving on. This game looks like it's done. Toronto's going to be eliminated. And with less than 4 minutes in the game, William Nylander scores. And that's assisted by Hyman and Marner. Now, what have the Leafs not been doing all game besides unable to be, to make a pass? They're shooting the puck on net. Merzlikins is seeing everything, and they're one and done. They're out of the zone. They're not spending much time in the O-zone. It's like, can you maybe try putting a guy in the crease, screening the goaltender? How about a deflect or a tip in or something? Or you know what? I'll go with the rebound. Just give me one stinking rebound. And that's what kind of happens on this play. There's about 2.5 Leafs in the crease, and Nylander puts it in 3-1 for the Blue Jackets. Leafs are on the board, and I'm like, oh, too little, too late at this point. I'm not paying too much attention to it until about not even 50 seconds later. Actually, we're back in the Columbus zone. Matthews finds Tavares kind of alone, high in the slot, and he blasts it past Merzlikins. And at this point, you're thinking, the Columbus Blue Jacket goalie looks a little nervous. And by the time of that second goal, by the way, they've already pulled. Toronto's already pulled Frederik Andersen, and I think he had him pulled since the Nylander goal, their first goal. And Keefe, starting late in the second, early in the third, has already put together a Tavares, Matthews, Marner line, which he's constantly throwing back out there. He's loading up his $1 million boys there, something Mike Babcock never did, which just frustrated and irritated the hell out of everyone. He never tinkered with his lines during a game in response to what the other coach was doing. So that's a positive, and they started to produce. So I won't be surprised if this starts to become more of a habit, at least if they're down and in desperate need of a goal. Moving along, not even 30 seconds left in the game now. Zach Hyman ties it up, assisted by Matthews and Nylander. Matthews has got 3 points in this game. Yeah, so does Nylander. So does Marner. Nylander and Hyman have 2 points each, and Tavares had the 1 goal. In any case, same sort of thing. There's like 2.5 Leafs inside that crease, on top of Merzlikins. There's bodies everywhere. Hyman chips it in. Everyone goes crazy. Can you imagine if there was actually people in that building? Anyways, and at this point, I'm still not excited. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna hold my breath here, see what happens in overtime. I'm not gonna give up my hopes just to have them torn away from me like they were in the last game. Then in overtime, we're about I want to say just over 12 minutes or so in. Columbus takes a penalty, a bad one on that, from their captain, Foligno, who trips Morgan Rielly in the far corner. He gets a stick under his skate. I'm sure you'll be seeing this replay over and over on social media for the next little while. People will be arguing about it back and forth. In any case, moments later, back in the Columbus zone, everyone is paying attention to Tavares on the left side of the ice, and he passes it to the right to a wide open Austin Matthews in the right-handed circle, who blasts it past Merzlikins. Doesn't have a chance, and the Leafs win it. Unbelievable. So I'm at a loss for words. Now, little note here, Werenski, the Blue Jackets defenseman, top defenseman, didn't play the last 9 minutes of the third period or overtime. I think he fell awkwardly. I know he had a previous injury with his hand. I don't know if it's the same one or not. Maybe it's his neck that he tweaked. Maybe they just kept him off as a precaution. I don't know. We'll see if he plays the next game. I would think they would. He'd have to be missing a body part for him not to play. Yeah. And did I miss anything here? The Leafs, were really bad in the faceoff circle, surprisingly enough. Usually they're a lot better than Columbus. The shots, by the way, at the end of the first were 15-13. End of the second were 16-13. End of the third were 8-6. And getting to the box scores, the Leafs outshot them 53-39. The faceoff win percentage was, for Columbus, 59-41%. The power play, the Leafs were 1 for 4. Hey, they scored again on the special teams. That was in overtime. 0 for 3 for Columbus. Penalty minutes were 15-13. Columbus. Hits were 26-20 for the Blue Jackets. Blocks were 20-15 for Columbus. And the giveaways were 17-13 for Toronto. Yeah, you see what I'm talking about here. Now, for the goaltenders, Frederik Andersen stopped 36-39 for the win, had a 9.23 save percentage there, and Merzlikins stopped 49-53 shots with a 9.25 save percentage. The stars of the game were Austin Matthews, the first star, Zach Hyman, and Merzlikins, if I'm even pronouncing that correctly, the third star. And there you have it. Thank you so much. I would love to hear what you have to say about this game down in the comment section down below. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, which will alert you when my next video comes out. And please be kind to each other out there, and I'll see you soon.